Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, good afternoon. Okay. So in the last class, we have discussed some basic definitions. Comes under what's the definition of graph, and what is the trivial graph? What is the definition of what is the definition of the bipartite graph? What is the definition of the complete bipartite graph? So these are the definition we come across in the last session. So in the continuation of the the same thing. So first, let us quickly complete the of the concepts. That means definition of the concept which comes under model 6 and then model 7. Okay. Simultaneously, if suppose if any problem comes in this syllabus, so that all can be discussed during the time. Okay. If necessary, we can get into the problem. Otherwise, we can just finish first what are all the concepts are there. Just we'll grasp the outline of the model 6 and then model 7. Then we can enter into the okay. First, but you have to be clear about the topics, right? So then only we can easily enter into the concept. Otherwise, it's very difficult. Okay. So please listen the definitions properly. If suppose if there is any doubt, if any doubt arise, you can just interrupt at any time. You can just clarify the doubts. Okay. Thank you. Okay. Now, uh, continuation of the previous session. Here, what is the complement of the G? Here, you may be provided one graph in which they can just simply ask you the question, find the complement of the graph. That means if I consider this as a graph means, what is the complement graph for that? So here complement graph means you need to keep all the vertices of the original graph. Okay, you need to keep all the original vertices with it. Here, if suppose if there is an edge between this vertex and then this vertex in the original graph means here you should not create the vertex. Here you should not create the edge in the G complement. Okay. By the way, you need to check with all other pairs of the vertices. Okay, that is the task. Very simple. Here, I have better. I can consider this as V1, V2, V3, V4. Here, I can consider same V1, V2, V3, V4. In your original graph, if there is an edge between V1, V2, I should not create an edge on this graph, complement graph. Okay. By the way, I can check with V3 and then V4 also. Yes. So here V1 will have with all other three vertices as an edge. Next, V2. So V2 is having connection with V1 and then V3, but not with V4. So I should create an edge now. Okay, later. Next, V3. V3 is having connection with all other vertices except V4. So I should create an edge between V3 and then V4. Okay, next. By the way, I can check with V4. Yes, so I have created that V2 and then V4. So that is the concept. G complement means you need to check in the original graph if there is an no edge between the vertices. Here you should create an edge. Okay, here adjacent property is applying that. That's it. Here if one vertex is adjacent with the other vertex in the original graph means here in your G complement you should leave that edge. If there is no adjacent edge in the original graph G means in your complement you should create an edge. That's it. Okay. Degree sequence, it's very simple. In your graph you may have the vertices. Here you can write the degree as a sequence, like degree of V3 is high here like 1 2 3 4. So 4 comma degree of V2 as 3. So 4 comma 3 comma degree of V3 as 3. 4 comma 3 comma 3. Next degree of V4 as, what is the degree of V4? Can anyone try to say what is the degree?
4.
Very good. Because here it is having self loop, it should be counted as twice. So 2 plus 2, 4. Next, That's it. So totally I have written 4. So this is the degree sequence of this graph. So next, cycles. Cycle is very simple. So it's like a wheel. So here it's not a wheel. So it's a cycle means you can start at one point, ends at the same point. That graph is called cycle. For example, you can consider one graph like this. So here I can just simply try to say like V1, V2, V3, V4. Can anyone try to guess how many cycles are there?
3,
How
sir.
Very good. Totally 3. You should not say the answer like just 2. But I was expected the answer would be like 2 only. Anyway, you are clearly guessed because here I can say the cycle like V1, V2, V3, V4. That is a 4 cycle. It is having 4 length. So 4 length. Next, another cycle is V1, V2, V3. Sorry, I forgot to add one more edge there, vertex there. That is V1, V2, V3, V4, V1. Then only it can have the cycle formation. So this is a 4 cycle. Next, V1, V2, V3, V1. This is 3 cycle. Next. Next cycle is actually V1, V3, V4, V4, V1. So that is another C3 cycle. So here, if suppose if the question is asked like write the distinct number of cycles, that time you need to say totally there are 2 distinct cycles. One is 4 cycle, another one is 3 cycle. Okay, totally there are 2 different. Okay, if suppose how many number of cycles are existing on this graph means that time you need to mention totally there are 3 number of cycles that are there, in which particularly 2 number of 3 cycles, 1 number of 4 cycle. I hope you have understood the concept on this. Okay, so by the way they are just extending. This is a 5 cycle, this is a 6 cycle, this is a 4 cycle, this is a 3 cycle. Okay, next. So here next definition is subgraph. Okay, so it's like a subset. That's it. So here in your number system or on other concepts in your set concept, you would have gone through the thing like what is the definition of set, what is the definition of subset. By the same way, here graph and then subgraph. That's it. Here subgraph is nothing but it's a subset of graph. It's a subset of graph. In what ways it can be the subset? Here you will have the number of vertices of here the subgraph can be denoted as H, graph can be denoted as G. Okay, so vertices of the subgraph can be the subset of vertex of the original graph. That's it. By the same way, edges of the subgraph can be the subset of edges of the original graph. That's it. So the definition is over. Let me enter into the example. See here, this is the graph. Okay, this is can be the subgraph. In what ways? Totally, there are 3 vertices. 3 vertices. All the 3 vertices, it is in the shape of original graph G. Also, it can have the connection, the same connection what it has originally in the G. Okay, see if I consider this as V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V6 means here also it can place like V2, V3, V4, here V5. So here I should check V1 should have edge with V2. Yes, it is true. If suppose in another way, if I am considering this as the graph like I can have the connection with V1 and then V5 means I should not consider this as the subgraph of G. Okay, it should maintain the same discipline rules of the original graph G. In what ways? With respect to the vertices, with respect to the edges. Okay, so here V2 is not having edge, sorry, V3 is not having edge with V5. If I create one edge with V3 with V5 means then it will not be a subgraph of the G. Okay, so this is the definition of subgraph. Have you understood this definition? Is it clear? Is it clear? Please respond.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Spanning subgraph. Certainly, it will make confusion to you. What is the difference between subgraph and then spanning graph, subgraph? So please listen properly. Then I'll just ask you some examples. What is subgraph? What is spanning subgraph? Okay. First, let us enter into the definition of spanning subgraph. Actually, spanning subgraph is the derivation of the subgraph only. If suppose if I'm going to check whether it is a spanning subgraph or not, means first it has to be a subgraph. Okay, then furthermore I need to just extend my additional property, check additional property. If it follows that, means then I can clearly say it is not only a subgraph, it also to be called as a spanning subgraph. Okay, that's it. Oh, so here first, spanning subgraph means additionally it has to satisfy one condition. In your subgraph you should have all number of vertices of the G. Okay, that is the extra condition. But in your subgraph there is no condition like that. Here you may be the subset, that's it. You may be the subset, vertices of the H can be the subset of G. But here in that case, spanning subgraph means you should have the same number of original graph. I hope you can understand the difference between subgraph and then spanning subgraph. In your subgraph, you will have like vertex subset can be the subset of V of G. Okay, it can be equal also, but not a problem, but it can be the subset. Okay, but in your spanning subgraph, there is a strict condition to be followed. It should be equal in the number of vertices. It is not needed to be equal in your edges, but what they are restricting the condition, it should be equal in the vertices. So here you can just check in this. Here G1 is your original graph, maybe original graph. Here I can consider F1 as the first. Let me check whether it is a subgraph or not.
Yes,
F1 is a subgraph. Also, it is also to be called as a spanning subgraph. Why? Because here it can have the same number of 5 vertices in the your subgraph F1. But here it is not followed the same edges, not a problem. But here, what is the condition of spanning subgraph? It should have the same number of vertices of the original graph. Okay, next. Can I call this as the spanning subgraph H1?
yes,
No,
sir.
sir.
No or yes?
No,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Yes. Yes is the correct answer, because here you can check what is the condition. It has to be all the vertices of the original graph. That's it. Here it is having, right, V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. So by the way, I can clearly say it is a spanning subgraph. Next, G1.
No, sir.
No. What is the reason?
Sir, V1 is not there.
Existing on this subgraph. But can I call this as a subgraph?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Very good, super. Now I hope you have clearly understood the difference between subgraph and then spanning subgraph. Am I right? Is it clear up to this? Spanning subgraph and then subgraph?
Yes.
Sir, in a Spanish subgraph, you do not necessarily need to have all the edges connected,
Yes,
but
yes, you're
only the
absolutely,
vertices being present is
yes,
sufficient.
yes, you're absolutely right. Clear. Very good. Additional point. Super. Okay, next. We can enter into another one. So before that, we can complete the attendance part. Please, you can fill the attendance form soon. Very good, quick response. Okay, next. It will be quite interesting, so please listen properly. Surely it can be an interesting part. Please listen carefully. Okay, it is not required to memorize any concept. It's a simple problem. So, okay, anyway, listen. See here, in some softwares, you can even find in Google, like create a graph by using adjacency matrix, by using incident matrix. There are plenty of open sources are there. You can even just give the input as the matrix, you will get the output as the graph. Okay, now what we are going to just learn, how the softwares, open source platforms will just try to convert the matrix as the graph. That's what we are going to learn over here. That is embedded by using the logic, adjacency matrix problem, and then incidence matrix problem. I'll explain to you one by one. Okay, first, if they are provided adjacency matrix, how it can be converted as the graph. By the same way, vice versa, if it is given as the graph, how it can be taken as the matrix. Okay. Usually many of the guys would have been familiar in the MATLAB and then other softwares, in which always MATLAB, for example, if you could take MATLAB means whatever the graph, if you could insert, that can be inserted by using the logic as the matrix only. Okay, that's why it has been named as matrix laboratory MATLAB. Okay, so here how it can be given the graph as the matrix. Okay, we are going to discuss those problems on this. Okay. Very simple. Listen, see here. I'm not going to explain this as a very theoretical wise. It's going to be discussed as a problem wise. Very easy one. So listen properly. See here, if this is a graph is given. So here our task is assigned how it can be converted as a graph. Okay. So let us just learn one by one. So here I should arrange here adjacency matrix. Adjacency matrix means you can just create a matrix like total number of vertices are there, like that is 4. So V1, V2, V3, V4. By the same way, V1, V2, V3, V4. Okay, after this, so here, if V1 and V1 is having edge, no. So if there is no edge between V1 and V1 means I can put 0. Okay, next. V1 is having edge with V2. Yes, it is having edge. So I should put here 1. Next. V1 is having edge with V3. Yes. So 1. Next. V1 is having edge with V4. Yes. So 1. So can anyone try to say the row of V2 answers quickly?
So 1.
Sorry?
1.
1.
1 0
0.
1
1.
0
0.
Very good. Okay, next. V3.
1 1
Next.
1.
0
0.
1
1.
Very good. Very good. Last one.
1.
1
0.
1 0.
1 0.
Very good. That's it. So this is the way to convert the graph as the adjacency matrix. So that is the, now if you could see the formal definition, you will directly understand. Okay. Once if you start first reading the definition, and then if you enter into the matrix means, certainly you will not understand. So it is now, if you could read the lines what they are given in this slide, you will automatically understand what they are mentioned. If there is an edge between ith and then j with the vertices means you can put 1. If otherwise, if there is no edge between them means you can put 0. That's it. Okay. Have you understood this concept adjacency matrix? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Enter into another problem related to the same. Vice versa, here they are given adjacency matrix. For the same, our task is assigned here to draw the graph, okay, for the same adjacency matrix. So here it is advisable to just label it. Once you get proper practice, until you can just clearly label it, then it will not do any mistake on that. So V1, V2, V3, V4, V5, V1, V2, V3, V4, V5. Okay, so here for the same, I'm going to draw the graph like this. The same concept in vice versa, you're going to apply. That's it. So here I can just fix the first row. Okay, V1 is the vertex first row. V1 is having connection with what are all the vertices? Any guess?
V2, V3.
V2, V3. That's it. So I should create an edge as V1, V2 and then V1, V3. I hope you are understood slightly. Okay, now I can start creating the vertices. V1 is having edge with V2. Next, V1 with V3. So I have finished the first row. Next, second row. V2 is having connection with V1 and then V3. So V2 already finished with V1. So remaining one, V2 with V3. So already V3 is created. So it is enough to connect between V2 and V3. That's it. Next. So third row. V3 is having connection with V1 and then V2. One more V4 also, right? So V1, it is connected. V3 with V2, yes, it is finished. V3 with V4. So I should create one more vertex, that is V4. So V3 with V4. Next, fourth row. V4 with connection with V3 and V5. So V4, V3 is finished. Last one is V5 is needed. So I should create one more vertex, that is V5. So V4 with V5. So this is also last row. So V5. So V5 is having connection with V4. That is finished. Last one. V5 is having connection with V5 itself. Then any guess?
Self loop.
Very good. That's it. Self loop. Okay. So here, this is the corresponding graph of these adjacency matrix. Okay. Any doubt on up to this? Sometimes the questions can be given to you like by providing the graph, how to convert the adjacency matrix. Otherwise, by providing the adjacency matrix, how to create a graph for this corresponding adjacency matrix. Okay, it can be asked 5-mark question. So by combining, it may be asked like a 10-mark. So have you cleared up to this adjacency matrix? Is it clear?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes, sir.
fine. Next. So next one, incidence matrix. Okay. Anyway, here output will be same as the matrix, but here you are applying some different logic between adjacency matrix and then incidence matrix. Okay. Always you should know the word adjacency matrix means adjacent will behave between the vertices. Incidence means it will behave the property like with vertex, how many edges are incident. Okay. With vertex, how many number of edges incident means, what is the definition? Already you have gone through that. What is the definition?
Number of edges connected to vertex.
Sorry, yeah, that is correct. What is the definition of that? What is the name of that?
Degree.
Very good, degree. Okay. If suppose if you are going to determine degree for one particular vertex means I need to count how many number of edges are incident to that particular vertex. That concept is called degree. Already you have gone through that. That another name is valency. Already I have explained in the last session. Related to the same degree concept, here you are going to construct the incidence matrix. Anyway, I'm not going to explain this first. First, let me explain the problem and then I'll come back to the definition. So you will automatically understand what it is given in this slide. Okay. Now, here actually already told you, incidence matrix means you need to involve with between vertices and then edges. So I can just create the just matrix like V1, V2, V3, V4. Okay. After that, V1 with E1, E2. How many number of edges are there? 5 edges. So E1, E3, E4, E5. So for this matrix, I'm going to for this graph, I'm going to create an incidence matrix. So here it is very simple. There in your adjacency matrix, what are all the edges are adjacent to that particular row vertex. Okay. If it is adjacent means you have mentioned there as the value as 1. For the remaining vertices you have mentioned as the 0. By the same way here, if there is an incident edge with that particular vertex, you can mention as 1. For the rest of the edges you can mention as 0. That is the definition. Formal definition was given in the previous slide. Anyway, first let us complete this row matrix and then we will come back to that. Okay, so V1 is having connection with incident with E1, so I should put here 1. Okay. E2, can I put 1?
No.
0. Very good. Next. E3?
0.
0. E4?
1.
1. E5?
1.
1. So by the same way, for V2 row, can anyone try to say quick answer?
1 1 0 0 0.
Very good. V3?
0 1 1.
Very
0
good. 1 1 0 1. Very good. Last. V4?
0 0 1 1 0.
Very good. That's it. I hope you are understood. So here simply you are applying the logic. What are all the edges are incident to the particular vertices, particular vertex. Those edges can be marked as the value 1. For the remaining edges can be marked as 0. That is the logic behind that. So now you can come back to the definition. That's it. They are given like when edges incident means with that particular vertex, you can mention as 0. Otherwise, you can mention as 0. You can mention as 1 if it is incident. If it is not incident means you can mention 0. Have you understood this? Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we can apply the same. See here, they are given the problem by providing the incident matrix. Okay. They are just asked us to draw the diagram for this. So here, don't follow other methods. So I can just give one shortcut to determine the answer. I'll just say to you. See here you can apply the same. You can apply the same method, but in your previous adjacent matrix, you have just kept stable as the rows. But here you can keep fix the edges. Then only it will be the easy problem. Here you can fix first column E1. So E1 is you can just check in each column. Certainly it will be marked 1 exactly in 2 positions. Can anyone try to guess why? In each
Because
column,
NH connects two vertices.
very good, because if you pick any edge is connected by exactly 2 points. Okay, so here it is easily to fix the columns so that it can be easy one to draw the diagram. So now first I am going to create an edge E1 by having connection with V1 and then V4. V1, V4. So here V1, V4. So this edge is actually E1. Next, E2. E2 means V1 with V5. So V1 is already created. So next vertex should be created as V5. So I can just take V5. So this is E2. Next, E3. So this is over E3. So E3, V2 and V4. So V4 is already created. One more thing is V2. So this is E3. Next, E4. E4 is V2 and V5. So V2 and V5 means already both the vertices are created. So it is enough to just join both the sorry. I'll drop this. Okay. Okay, sorry. So here it is enough to connect V2 and V5. That's it. Okay. So this is actually E4. E4. Next, E5. E5 is V3 and V5. V3 and V5. V3 and V5. So V5 is already created. So V3 and V5. This is E5. Okay. Last one is E6. E6 is V2 and V3. So V2 and V3. So this is E6. See here, both the graphs are same, but they are just kept fixing the position of the vertices in different manner. That's it. So yeah, here it is not a unique shape. The output, it is not needed to be a unique shape. It can be any shape as per where you are going to fix your vertices. I hope you can understand. But the connectivity between the vertices should be a unique. Okay. Hope you have understood the logic between incident matrix and then adjacency matrix. Have you understood this logic? In your adjacency matrix, you have kept the fixing as a stable with respect to each row. There you are found between what are all the vertices it is having connection, so that consider as the edge. But here in this incident, you have fixed the column between what vertices it has been formed an edge. Okay, by the way, you have constructed all the edges. So that is a easy procedure. Otherwise, if suppose you can fix by vertices also, not a problem, but it will make confusion. So instead, you can just fix the column, you will get the answer in easy way. Have you got the idea between adjacency matrix and then incident matrix? Is it clear? Is it clear? Is it clear up to this? Is it clear up to this?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Oh, fine. That's it. Okay, anyway, we'll meet by tomorrow. Thank you all. Thank you. If there is no doubt, we can sign off the meeting. Thank you all.